right, today we're going to tear apart one of history's most iconic moments to find a raw, powerful lesson in leadership. We're going way beyond that famous painting to get to the desperate, freezing reality of a choice that literally saved a revolution. You know the image I'm talking about, right? The heroic general, this pillar of absolute strength, standing tall in the boat, leading his guys to a legendary victory. It's a picture of total certainty. But here's the thing. On that actual frozen night in 1776, this was the question being whispered between soldiers huddled together in the dark. It wasn't a cheer. It was a question coming from pure doubt and despair. And that's where our real story kicks off. So to really get what's going on here, we have to split the legend from the man. We got to look right past that stoic figure in the painting and see the leader who is staring failure right in the face. I mean, the contrast is it's jarring. The legend we tell is a story of a victory that was bound to happen. The reality? It was a man soaked to the bone, staring into a night that promised absolutely nothing but failure. His strength wasn't that he had no doubt, it was that he acted anyway. Okay, let's dive into just how close the American Revolution was to completely fizzling out. This wasn't just some strategic setback, this was the edge of the cliff for the whole cause. The Continental Army was basically disintegrating. Morale had hit rock bottom. These weren't just soldiers anymore. They were men who had lost all faith, not just in the war, but you have to imagine maybe even in the leader who was about to ask them to take one more impossible step. And if all that wasn't enough, the weather itself was a whole other enemy. You've got huge chunks of ice smashing against the boats, a wind that just howled like a warning. The Delaware River wasn't just a thing to cross. It felt like an active, hostile force trying to swallow them whole before they even got a glimpse of the enemy. So, here we are at the crucial moment, the decision point. Every single logical sign pointed to one thing: retreat. The enemy on the other side of that river was stronger, they were warmer, they were better supplied. The safe, rational move was to fall back and save what little you had left. Seriously, put yourself in Washington's shoes for a second. The pressure to just pick the safe option must have been massive. Retreat, regroup, live to fight another day, right? That's what any conventional commander would have done. But Washington, he didn't give some big thunderous speech. He didn't rally them with a bunch of loud promises. It was just a quiet, final statement. He basically staked the entire future of the revolution on this one desperate gamble. He made the choice for them. Now, imagine watching your leader in that moment. You're not suddenly filled with blind faith. You're probably filled with a mix of doubt, of fear, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of awe as he steps toward what looks like certain defeat. You follow him, not because you believe in the plan, but because you see that he refuses to quit. So let's get into the crossing itself and see how this completely desperate act somehow gets forged into an unlikely and totally pivotal victory. This is where chaos becomes a turning point. Yeah, forget those glorious paintings. The reality was just a mess. Boats were nearly capsizing, men were slipping into that freezing water, and a merciless storm was just cutting through their clothes and their will to go on. It was a brutal, ugly, chaotic struggle just to survive. This sequence, it just shows the whole transformation perfectly. It starts with completely broken spirits and a wild gamble. It moves through the utter chaos of the crossing into decisive action, and then something amazing happens. That fear, it ignites into resolve. And that fire secures a victory that saves everything. Just one. This single victory, born from absolute desperation, was the one thing that stopped the revolution from being completely snuffed out. Strategically, it was huge. It took out a key enemy post, it got them vital supplies, and it convinced soldiers whose time was up to stay and keep fighting. It was a signal to the world and to themselves that this thing was not over yet. So, what should a young leader today take away from this story, beyond just battlefield tactics? What is the real lesson here for any of us when we're facing our own impossible moment? The legend misses the most important part. It misses the feeling of the cold. It misses the whispers of doubt, the crushing weight of knowing you're probably going to fail. The legend erases the very human struggle that makes the leadership so incredible. This whole story, it forces us to redefine what we think of when we picture a great leader. It's not about superhuman strength or a perfect record. What happened that night suggests it's something much, much deeper. The lesson here is that real leadership is not about being immune to failure. It's not about having all the right answers or always making the perfect call. That's the myth. That's the painting. And that is the final crucial takeaway. True leadership is about resilience when you are staring down what feels like certain defeat. It's about taking that next step forward into the cold and into the dark, simply because turning back is no longer an option. That is the choice that changes everything.